Hi, it's Sally-Shakti, your visionary writing guide, and welcome to Tarot and Astrology for Visionary Writers from Monday the 16th to Sunday the 22nd of October 2023. And wow, we are now in between the eclipses. We are in the Eclipse Portal, which began with the Libra new moon solar eclipse on Saturday, the 14th of October, here in the British Isles. It was at just after sunset, around just around 7 p.m. I want to talk today, in today's video, particularly about the powerful influence of Pluto on these two eclipses and in this period of time where we are currently at. But I'll start with just some reflections on last week's Libra eclipse that has opened up this eclipse portal that we're now traveling through. I'm sure perhaps many of you felt the influence of the dark moon eclipse before it arrived. For myself and for people I've spoken to, the days of last week were intense in many areas of our lives, and that actually seemed to lessen off a little bit on Saturday and Sunday, the day of the eclipse on Saturday. But up until Friday, my experience and from some people I've spoken to, the week was intense. That eclipse portal has been intensely opening up as we have been moving towards it. When we think about the power of astrology and how personal and individual astrology gets when we get down to our own natal charts and our own individual astrological placements, I'll talk you a little bit through that process in relation to my own experience of the eclipse last week. So for me, the eclipse degree points in the late degrees, I think it was 21 degrees, let me see. Yeah, 21 degrees of Libra. The eclipse happened in my chart in my 4th house, conjunct to my natal Pluto, which is also in my 4th house, and square to my natal sun and to transiting Pluto, which is currently in the late degrees of Capricorn. So for me personally, Pluto has had a heavy influence on this eclipse and on the last couple of years, with Pluto being opposite my natal sun and squaring my natal Pluto. With the eclipse coming into those exact degree points to square my natal sun and to square transiting Pluto and to conjunct my natal Pluto in the 4th house. These last couple of years, with Pluto being in the late degrees of Capricorn and setting up these squares, as many of you know from my recent videos, have been mostly about me and my partner trying to find stability in our home, as a, for a home. That home energy came up so strongly with this eclipse being conjunct my natal Pluto in the 4th house. The energy of home was the energy that this Libra solar eclipse was particularly triggering for me. On Wednesday and Thursday of the week leading up to the eclipse, I had some extremely violent and harmful interactions with the people I had been living with. And on Thursday, left my home in that environment and suddenly found myself needing to find somewhere else to live in an emergency, which I came back to the community that I have lived in previously and where my partner's currently staying. So I have somewhere to be, but that crisis point of home being so unexpectedly and explosively triggered around this eclipse energy was a really potent message to me around how these energies work in our own natal charts and how they become so personal and so specific in our own natal charts. So if you are familiar with your natal chart, you can see where 21 degrees of Libra is, and you will know the house that new moon eclipse was triggering, the energies that was triggering in your chart. What does all this mean for creativity and for us as visionary writers and creatives? What I've noticed is that during this crisis period, I've been less in touch with my journaling practice, and as a result, have felt less empowered as an intentional co-creator of my life. I noticed that when I am really consistent with my regular daily journaling practice, I feel in an empowered position in my life to be the co-creator and to intentionally direct the course of my days and the path that I'm weaving. I have felt much more helpless and disempowered these last few days. I think in part as a result of being less present with my journaling practice that would enable me to be the empowered co-creator of my life path on a daily basis. And yet also looking at the astrology, looking at how strong Pluto has been acting in my personal chart and in the astrology generally with this eclipse, recognizing as well that these feelings of disempowerment and crisis might always have been part of the path that I'm walking right now because of the influences of these strong eclipse energies and these strong Pluto energies. We've got the South Node in Libra. So again, the energy signature of this eclipse that we've just had is about karmic endings, deep soul level cleansing and releasing and healing and alchemizing. And when that happens, it can be messy. And it's not always it's not always possible to have that regular daily practice that I have had in quieter times. But I think that the accumulation of the regular daily practice has helped me and is helping me to navigate through these particular life crises with a greater sense of empowerment, a greater sense of self, a greater sense of my own center, and helping me to look for the empowered choices that I can make in this situation moving forward. And so thinking about Pluto and the influence, the strong and powerful influence of Pluto over not only the eclipse last week, but the coming eclipse next week on Saturday, the 28th, we have the Taurus full moon lunar eclipse. And that will take place with the sun in Scorpio. And Pluto, both Pluto and Mars will be the rulers of the sun in Scorpio. Mars is currently in Scorpio. So Mars is in a strong position in the sign of Scorpio and will be ruling the sun, who will also be entering into Scorpio early next week. But Pluto, as the co-ruler of Scorpio, will be exerting energetic influence over the sun as it makes this second eclipse, the lunar eclipse, the Taurus lunar eclipse. So Pluto's energy is going to continue to be strong. And Pluto's influence is going to continue to be strong over this next eclipse and throughout the whole eclipse portal. And of course, we can expect that because Pluto is now direct and moving out of Capricorn and finishing up its time in the final degrees of Capricorn for the last time in our expected lifespans. The last time in around 200 odd years that Pluto will be in Capricorn. So Pluto completing its time in Capricorn, where it has been disrupting the structures of our financial systems in particular, is continuing to exert a strong influence as we move through this eclipse portal. So there will still be deep themes of our fears coming to the surface, our resistances showing up. I note in myself and from people I've been speaking to, strong feelings of rejection and abandonment from childhood core wounding. I think Chiron is involved in the mix somewhere as well, but I haven't checked. I'll just see if I can quickly glance at that. Chiron's in Aries. Where are we at? So at the time of the eclipse just gone, Chiron was at 17 degrees of Aries, pretty much opposing that eclipse point. So we've got the childhood wounds also as strong present and predominant energies as part of what we're experiencing right now. So as visionary writers and creatives, there are multiple layers that we can be exploring and working with. One is our own personal deep level healing and alchemy, the layers of ourselves that we can shed into our journaling, into our notebooks, onto the page, and burn in fire if we need to or want to, or if we can do safely. That was a ritual that myself and some people that I've been working with on the Ignite course undertook at this eclipse at the weekend. So we can journal on the page and work with ritual alchemy to acknowledge and accept and heal and release and alchemize onto the page those parts of ourselves that we have rejected and abandoned, those parts of our childhood wounding that still hurt and still influence our behaviors, the stories and the narratives that we've held and carried and believed and perpetuated through our own lifetimes, our ancestry, our DNA, our cultural conditioning, our education, our family environment. This eclipse portal is a powerful time to do that personal, powerful inner work, the deep journeying into your journal and onto the page to illuminate what has been in shadow, what has been in darkness, and to alchemize what we are ready to integrate as part of our power moving forward. We did some brave work in the Ignite course this week coming up to the eclipse. And I always say that one of the most courageous things that we can do is to show up consistently and meet ourselves on the page, because we get to see all of the light and all of the darkness, all of the shadow, all of the bits that we have been avoiding or ignoring or shamed by or ashamed of, all of the wounding, all of the parts, all of the fear and rejection, all of the abandonment, all of the inner fears and the traumas. We can bring those to the surface safely in our journaling practice. We can see and acknowledge who we are with our own shadows and our own secrets that Pluto wants to bring to the surface for us to see and acknowledge and integrate and heal and release. And we can do this on the page for our personal practice. And I always say in these videos that it's essential that we do that. If we are, as visionary writers and creatives, wanting and intending to be part of the intentional co-creation of new paradigms and possibilities and forms and structures in the world and as the world, then it's essential that we're doing that deep dive work in ourselves and bringing up the layers safely and with support, but bringing up those layers of shadow so that we can integrate and heal what has been rejected or neglected in ourselves. And it's a powerful time in this eclipse portal to be doing that. And as we move, as Pluto is moving, finishing its transit through Capricorn and beginning to move into Aquarius into next year, we also are preparing ourselves to become intentional co-creators of the new structure, the new paradigm, the new earth, the new Aquarian age of interconnectivity, how we communicate, how we co-create, how we connect with others. And we, as visionary writers and creatives, are absolutely part of that transition through our creative work, through our creative practice and our processes. We are alchemizing the old structures and creating the new through everything that we do. So both of those elements are in play through this eclipse portal. You may find a strong call, especially with Mars in Scorpio now. You may find a strong call to stand up and share your practice and create new forms, structures, and possibilities through your work. Create new communities, especially as we move towards the age of Aquarius. And you may also almost certainly be doing that deep dive inner work that Pluto is requiring us all to do right now, so that we can be clear vessels for the higher frequencies that are arriving daily here on Earth. So I think that's all I'll say about the astrology and our creativity in this moment. Just take a moment to connect with tarot and see what card would like to come forward to support us through the powerful integration energies of this week. There's too many there. I'm a little bit sticky. Okay. The 10 of Swords. So we had the 9 of Swords come up recently, encouraging us to do the work of really I'm going to say mastering. I don't like that gendered term so much, but with the Nine of Swords, we were invited to see, really acknowledge the narratives that have been shaping our lives and that we have been contributing to as we have shaped the world through our actions, beliefs, and behaviors, the stories that we live and that we tell. Ten of Swords is inviting us and alerting us to the completion of that cycle. We are now moving into, it feels like, the completion of a cycle of the old narrative structures that have been guiding us and dominating us personally and collectively for so long. But what I see here with this very prone figure with the 10 swords in its back is that the energy of this week and this eclipse portal feels very much like, as I was saying at the beginning, it's not the time to fight those energies that are coming up. It's time to, in a way, rest into the crisis that we might be experiencing, and to know that where we are is exactly where we need to be, that we cannot and could not have done anything differently, because this is the energy signature of the moment. It's a deep invitation to surrender, to let go, to release the final hold of those stories and narratives. The swords is the stories and the narratives that we tell ourselves, the ways that we communicate with people. The tens are the completion of a spiral, and then the integration of those lessons and the progression into the next level. So when we get the 10 of swords, and it looks like it does here, I sense that it is an invitation to surrender into the intensity of this process. Allow those old narratives to release through whatever practices you bring to them. And know that we are moving into now the next level, that as we give ourselves the time and the space to integrate the deep and strong emotional lessons of this eclipse period, we will move forward into new narratives, new forms, new structures, new possibilities, new stories to tell and to live and to create by. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm acknowledging that I'm obviously not in the same location as I often am. The lighting looks different. The setup is different. My voice is different from a residual cold that I've had since moving through this eclipse portal and my own personal crisis around that. So thank you so much for being here and for staying to the end. We're doing very, very deep work on the Ignite course at the moment. I'm blown away that we are only 2 weeks in, and we're diving so deep into the really transformative layers of what we can do to release our writer's block and get our words onto the page. It's a really, really deep dive process, and the people who are moving through that course together are finding it extremely powerful to be doing so, and having unexpectedly amazing results already 2 weeks in. So it's a real joy to it's a real joy to experience that, and I will be running new courses again in the new year. I'm just starting to put the details together for that. So please get onto my mailing list. If you're not already, you'll be the first to hear about it. And you will be able to sign up for the early bird prices. And in the meantime, come and say hi on social media or leave a comment here. I always appreciate it. You can find me at Writing Thriving on Facebook and Instagram. My website is writingthriving.com. That's where you can find the newsletter. And I look forward to keeping in touch with you and seeing you again soon. Take care. Lots of love.